Hello, welcome to today's session. And today we're continuing with our series on AI for all, AI for you, AI for me. Good day from where you're joining. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Thank you for your time with us today. 2 weeks ago, we started with introduction to AI. Last week, we moved on to prompt engineering. And for feedbacks already, Um, thank you for trying it out. Grace said she used Gemini. Frank said she used Quartz. Joy, I can't wait to see your slide. John used ChatGPT for quantitative reasoning. He just took a snapshot of the problem and uploaded it to give ChatGPT an image of an example. Just maybe like um, a very clear prompt. And so today we're delving into a new topic in continuation of our learning. And I'd just like to give us a brief introduction about who we are in Textiles. We're a community focused on supporting women who desire growth in technology, actually men and those women. So it could be men, boys, girls. So we support each other in growing in this technology space because we believe that ladies have amazing superpowers and the ability to use technology to solve life problems, real life problems, including even if there's a stay at home, believe that she can use some form of technology to solve problems in the family. And we do this through skills training and mentorship. The session is being recorded at the moment. Please keep mute your microphone and if you're not speaking, especially when the speaker takes the stage. The Q&A is open, so please you can pen down your questions in the Q&A and then you can keep the chat buzzing for other to keep the chat going. And so what the session is about, what the series is about is, having a lifelong skill added to our skills. It's not necessarily a learning pathway, but some of the topics we'll be taking are a pathway to some certifications and Microsoft Learning. It runs for 7 Saturdays. Today is the third session in the series. That you have technical and non-technical background, it is totally fine because we are all together and we're open to asking questions from ourselves. Here is a gallery of our delectable speakers. So we've had Real speak with us, we've had Sandhya speak with us. Today, we're having another amazing lady speak with us. And my remaining beautiful ladies will be taking the classes for the remaining Saturdays that we have in this series. Here is the program details. So we've had Realine take introduction to AI, we've had prompt engineering, and today we're having another fantastic session. I promise you that today's session you want to have your notes and you want to have your ears ready for this. And so, Omolara, today's speaker is Joy, and hosting with me today is Grace. Grace, are you ready for this?
Yes, I am.
Please take it away.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to be introducing our speaker for today. Our speaker for today is Joy Emedom. Joy Emedom is the co-founder of MAMA Cyber Shield, security consultant. She's a cybersecurity advocate, a tech speaker, a solution architect, an AI security Microsoft certified trainer. She's a good communicator, a dedicated and a determined IT professional with a drive towards using information technology to address issues, achieve organizational goals, and provide best fit solutions with enthusiasm to learn, try new things. With about 11 years of experience designing solutions for organizations across different sectors, focusing on aligning delivery excellence with customer satisfaction, she is an advocate for Catch Them Young. and believes that getting people endeared to security from the early stage enables them to grow into experienced professionals. She is a cybersecurity advocate and originator of building a career in Microsoft security for beginners with different pathways used to mentor and coach early careers. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome our today's speaker, Joy.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. When they were reading that profile, I said, now me be.
Afternoon. I was wondering when you quickly amazed that maybe I cannot believe she's the same person.
I was trying to do something on my slide, and then I had to go back to be sure it was me they were reading about, and I was like, okay, you know, I it's a privilege to be here. Anytime I'm given an opportunity to speak at Textilers, I feel very honored and privileged because the founders of Textilers are people who I hold very dear to my heart. And the mission and vision of this community is something that I stand for. So when you hear them read and say that I'm about advocating, getting people early into tech career, that's what I am. I do not believe that nobody cannot do anything. I just believe that it's about simplifying how people understand these things. So today, as much as we're looking at AI and security, because I understand that the audience is a mix of personas, right? We have people who are into tech already. We have people who are working in corporate organizations. We have people who are not working in corporate organizations, but they're using AI tools. I am going to do what I know how to do best, which is make it as simple as possible. Leave all the mumbo jumbo grammar that we use in technology that tends to make us look like we're very special breeds. Meanwhile, people like me, we not sabi book. Like, wasn't an A student. I have these short reels I put on Instagram that I say the myths of cybersecurity. And one of the things I write there is that cybersecurity students are A students. And I say it's not true. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't push to strive to be A student, but this is just saying that if you find that you're not that A student, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't do this. So I'm going to, as simple as possible, my slides are just 5. Have us interact because this is a tool that we use all the time. So, Lara, can I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, for those of you, I don't know if the people that are here joined the first Saturday. I really enjoyed that session. I missed the second one, and I'll make time to go back and watch it. But the first session was so good a session to open what we're doing, and I'm so happy I didn't miss it. And so speaking from that session, one of the things that the facilitator did that I like and I want to repeat here is to ask how many of us interact with AI, and if you can just drop in the chat group the name of the AI tool that you interact with. I would, it would be hard to find anybody today who is not using an AI tool. Would you agree with me? The way, and this is an interactive class, please, I don't want us to be very quiet. We're not in a teacher and student. I want to talk about AI and security, so I want it to be as interactive as possible. So I'll take my question 3 steps backwards. Do you know that there are people today that don't have social media platforms and social media accounts? Do you know that? Yes, no, react to any of the emojis, right? Or any of the reactions. Yeah. There are people but do you think that there are people who would not interact with AI today? So somebody said she thinks, okay. Somebody said you think, so give me please. The people who think that there are people that will not interact with AI, can you come off mute and give me an example of those kind of personas? I doubt. I would argue, and I'm not saying people who don't have access to internet, we live in a world where unfortunately we always have people who are in displaced, communities or displaced areas. So even as exposed as how light power is there are still areas in the world where people don't have access to power or have access to stable power supply, right? So those kind of people are still generating their power in some form of way. So I'm not speaking to those kind. I'm saying people who have access to technology, who have access to the internet. There are people who deliberately are not on social media and they've been able to do it. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, I struggle to think that there's anybody today that can live their life without some form of AI interaction. So I'm putting the question again just in case it was misunderstood, is do you think there are people that can live their life in the next, maybe today they are not, but in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, without interacting with AI? My answer is no. I don't think there are going to be people like that. If you think it's a yes, there are people, please come off mute and give me an example of what the person, these kind of people will be. So there are people that said yes. So that's why I'm asking you. I saw a Chioma, I saw somebody else, you said yes. So, I would like to know. And it's okay if you don't want to come off mute because we're recording, you can drop it in the chat box and we'll read it. So, and I'll tell you why I say no. A lot of people before ChatGPT thought AI was only ChatGPT, right? But many of you have smart TVs in your house, and on your smart TVs you have Alexa, right? You're already using AI. Many of you are hippie and crazy about iPhones, and you have Siri. That's AI. So I'm already showing you how very subtle AI is already in your life, even without you cautiously saying you want to use AI. So I'm not even going wide now to begin to. So you are there wondering how when you go on the internet, something is able to understand why your search feeds are bringing things that you feel that you were thinking about or you were having conversation about. Meanwhile, you use an iPhone and you haven't gone to the settings on the iPhone to do the settings that are required if you don't want it to interact with you or interact with your personal life. And that's it. So where am I going to with? It's just the same way we have not paid attention to the security functions and features that have been made available with all the tools that we use today. I bet you many of you, when you created your Gmail account, and I like to use Gmail because it's like we live in a world where a lot of people have forgotten about Yahoo. My first email was yahoo.co.uk. I don't know about people who, and that email I hold it dear to my heart, even though I don't use it again, but I just have it in my head. But I think lots of new generation have more of Gmail or Outlook kind of emails, right? So but many of you, when you created your email, that was all. You just put in you're putting in username, put your date of birth, and that's it. There's no other security thing you've done on your email today. Maybe because of recent times where two-factor authentication is being talked about now, people are talking about it, but still you haven't. So people by default don't incline to security when they use technology. They're just excited on the use of technology and they're happy about using it, but they do not think about the security side of things. And so today what we want to do is make it as simplified as possible to show you how this AI tool that you're interacting with. So when you had the first session, you talked about all the tools you're interacting. I'm still waiting to see your comments on the chat box on the AI tools that you use. I saw someone put Copilot. That's good. On the different types of AI tools you use. And it's very important. I want to do something with that. So if we can please help me engage by dropping the type of AI tools that you use, right? It will help what I want to do with it when I see those responses. So many of you just use these tools for the purposes of what you use them, and that's good. But you haven't paid attention to what you should do to ensure security. And that's the same way we are in lots of things that we're using today. You buy your phone, you take your phone out of the phone box, you're happy about it. The best you do on the phone is put a pin on the phone or put a password, and that's it. No other settings is done on the phone. You go on a social media app, you download it, you put your credentials, you use it, and that's the thing. No other interaction is done. And that's what we are doing again with AI. We're all excited on this new innovative thing that has come, that has always existed, but has, become very much aware. All the awesome things it can do for us, even in the new way of monetizing. Oh, there's so much you can do with AI when it comes to the new way of, making multiple streams of income. And we're all excited, but nobody's sitting down to say, how do I ensure that I use AI, securely? So I'm not going to spend time here. They've talked about me even beyond this, my simplified, modest way I thought I was going to introduce myself. So I'm just going to move past. But hey, the essence is just to make you understand that, I play in this industry, and so some things I'm speaking are not AI generated. They are based off from experience and work. And why we'll be interacting today about AI, I'm sure in some of the sessions you'll be talking about, we'll be looking at in some sessions you'll be having, and in one of the points I will bring out when I talk about the risk of AI, you will see how why AI is interesting and helps us to simplify and be more productive. There's still that question mark on the transparency and genuinity of the content that comes out from AI. So I'm not an AI generated, security expert. I am an experienced security expert, and therefore I speak based on the experiences that I've had in the industry, and I'll be sharing some of those experiences with you. We'll quickly just look at AI security challenges, benefits, and then I took out that Microsoft one because I didn't want this to be so Microsoft-ish, right? So permit me, that didn't go off the agenda, but I took that out. So, quick flashcard: AI is causing a revolution on how we work and how we protect ourselves. So there are two things. There's AI in the productivity side. That's why I said that, because I'm aware that we have different personas in the audience. For some people in the security side of the corporate world, they're looking at AI as a tool that helps protect. And for other people, AI is a productivity tool that helps them to optimize and deliver the job. But it has become, very important that we ensure that we use AI securely, because of how much AI is getting involved in our day-to-day life. What did I just click? Sorry. Is my slide showing in a funny way? Or is it showing properly?
It's now okay.
Okay, all right. So I like to call this AI simplified. I'm a strong believer of you can't secure what you don't know. Right. Again, that's why I said that many of you have bought your phones and you just excited. iPhone 16 is out. How many of you have seen the queue for people who want to buy iPhone 16? It's crazy. Like one of the Instagram influencers will say, that's massive. The queue for iPhone 16, and I'm asking what's different. But hey, that's the human nature. We crave and like what's in vogue. So many people, where am I going to with this? Most times we just get into things, use things, but we don't understand how to secure those things. So I call this the most shortest crash course you will get on AI architecture. Just so that's why I call it the AI simplified. And guess what? I learned this simplified way 1 hour ago from a session that I just joined. And I thought, oh, good, this would be a good way to talk about AI security without really talking about architecture. Because in tech, for those of us who secure, you need to understand the architecture for you to be able to understand how to secure. And I was like, oh, there are going to be some people in this room what is architecture? And I don't want to bore them. So I'm just going to call out key things. So when you see AI, let's use ChatGPT that almost everybody is conversant with, right? When you see ChatGPT, what do you can you confirm if any of these 5 things, when you say ChatGPT, come side by side to you? So, for example, if you put ChatGPT, you're looking at data, you're exchanging data. If you put ChatGPT, it's an algorithm that's happening behind. For ChatGPT to do what it's doing, there's a language model behind that, and then there's some form of automation and training. So artificial intelligence sits on these 5 pillars and cannot be artificial intelligence without these 5 pillars. AI cannot be AI without data. It can't be AI without the language models behind it that are used to digest that data that you've put in and then provide a response that makes sense to you. AI cannot be AI without the algorithms that sit behind it and are playing around these models to be able to produce what you want. AI cannot be AI without the training of these models in order for it to bring some level of accuracy that you see today, and then the bit of automation that happens. So when you think AI, think of these things, that this is what AI is, right? What makes AI is these 5 key pillars. Siri can only tell you, okay, let's go to Google Maps. Google Maps can only be as accurate as the data that has been fed into the system. I don't know how many, the age demographic that we have here, but back in the days, I've remembered using Google Map. We're going for a colleague's wedding, and we used Google Map from Lagos to Ibadan, and everything was going on well. And by the time we were getting close to the wedding venue, by the time we got to a particular place, it now said, "You've arrived at your destination." Guess what? It was a close that the government had. At the end of that close, the government has put like some kind of fence, and that's it. Sitting behind that fence was the venue we wanted, but Google Map took us through where it was not going to take us into that building, right? And we got stuck, and it took us another 1 hour to come out and now find the right way to go. But it was just a fence demarcation. And what does that tell you? As much as the artificial intelligence was able to guide us from Lagos all the way to Ibadan, it was not intelligent enough to know that government had put a wall, right? So if you were going to come through that way, you couldn't drive anymore through that way. But from a algorithm and understanding logic, it was telling us the right way. So it needed to be trained or retrained to now know that that way was no more an accessible road. Yes, that's the word. So AI comes with its limitations. And as you begin to understand the limitations of AI, that's how you begin to understand how to secure. Now, why am I taking my time to explain this thing? Because you cannot secure what you don't know. So if you begin to understand that, okay, AI deals with data and I'm exchanging data, right? And like for those who attended the second session where you were taught about prompt engineering, now you're now using prompts to interact with AI to give you data. You should begin to now ask yourself questions around this data that I'm interacting with this AI with. Am I using it in line with the rules and the security controls or guidelines that I need to, right? This model is going to learn this data that I've exchanged with it. How many people is it going to respond to back based on that, right? So where am I going to you? If you don't understand this, you will struggle to understand how to secure yourself in the use of AI. Now, I like to streamline that there are 2 ways we see the use of AI here. Again, like I mentioned, for some people, AI is a productivity tool. I have in the cohort that we currently run in Mama Cyber Shield, we have, because it's for mothers who are busy. Today is Saturday, they have to attend to children, attend to their husbands, attend to their family. They still want to attend. A couple of them use AI assistant to join the meetings, and it helps them. They have virtual assistants, and I liked it. It was so cool to see, that we had that. But then we begin to question ourselves when we begin to use virtual assistant tools to enter sessions and enter meetings. The question will be, how much of that information are we exchanging with that AI system that do we want? So while it's productive for them, where the AI will join the session, listen, take notes for them, summarize the notes, and make their life easier as models, they also need to understand the exchange of data, right? So I want you to begin to think around that part. And then from a cyber defense perspective, as those of us who practice cybersecurity as a career path, for us, we're looking at AI as a tool that can help us. While you're excited about using it to summarize a document, use it to summarize minutes of your notes, we're also looking at how to use it to be more productive in our threat intelligence, threat analysis, because the bad guys too, the threat actors, are also using AI, right? And you all agree with me, for those who have been in tech for a while, you will know that bots did not even just start today. So a long time ago, when you hear things like denial of service as an attack, denial of service is not done with a human hand. It's done with the use of bots and program languages that flood a particular website or a particular service and make it not available. And that's where you have a denial of service attack, which is a type of threat attack. So you can imagine the world of artificial intelligence today, where there exists so many language models that can interact. In fact, one of the ways that cybersecurity AI can be exploited, in the world of today, is you can actually take a code and put into the AI tool and tell the AI to find where the bugs and the vulnerabilities are, and then you can exploit it. So bug bounty that used to be a big deal, you needed to understand how to code, is beginning to become something that is easily accessible by anybody today. So hacking is now a skill that can be easily done without even spending so much time in understanding how to hack with the use of AI. So that's the same way as cybersecurity architects, we want to use AI to also respond to some of these cyber attacks and provide some form of defense. So we see AI, when we talk of AI security, we see it in two perspectives. AI security from a productivity side of things and AI security as a cyber defense tool that we use. Are there any questions so far? Now, you could be sitting in any of this table today. You could be somebody who uses, you're not in tech, you're not in security. So when we talk of technology, inside technology, we have security. Now, that could not be where you sit. You could be sitting on the productivity side where you use AI as a productivity tool. We'll come to you to talk about how you should be secure. And then you could be sitting in tech where you use AI as a productivity tool, but also use AI or want to understand how AI can, be used as a cyber defense tool. So let's look at some of the risk with AI, bias and discrimination. And what do we mean here? AI is garbage in, garbage out. That's the truth. What you feed AI is what AI uses to train the language models and then provide response. So it means that if you're using an AI tool that has been trained with some form of bias, and when we mean bias, if it's been trained with a mindset to feed only a certain type of people. How many of you can remember back in the days when we did not have black doll babies? And it wasn't seen as a big deal. When I grew up, all my dolls were white doll babies. But I'm black from a skin color perspective. But all the doll babies that we bought were all white doll babies. And everything that they represented, from their dress code to their hair to their look, were all. So guess what? Subtly, subconsciously, we were training, our parents were introducing to us some form of image and look. So you see that sometimes some things we deal with in the society today, it's not even necessarily because people just grow up. Image, the power of look and image not only start with social media. In fact, social media was only enhancing. The power of look and image is something that has to do with neuroscience, our brain. So back in the days when technology was not, we were being bought dolls, and those dolls were so pretty. So you would look at yourself and you wanted to be as pretty as the doll. And what the doll was showing you was a light-skinned baby girl with long hair. It did not represent anything that was majorly our kind of life, right? Thick hairs, dark skin, nothing. So subconsciously, lots of people, grew up like that, hoping that when they grow up, that's how their image is. And if you notice, in recent time, if you look at all the people who started inventing black dolls, those were the reasons that they were trying to correct. And that's the same thing with AI. AI has its risk where there's certain information you're going to get from it that has bias and discrimination. So as we look into security, you want to pay attention to that. Now, AI has lots of security vulnerabilities. Now, this is where the technical side of things sits. AI is a software. So just the same way the softwares you use today, your Google Chrome browser will pop up to you that there's a vulnerability. It's the same way the language models that are used to develop AI require constant vulnerability check because they are vulnerable and they can be exploited, and the data that is being exchanged with them can be harvested. So it's the same thing. So if you sit on the corporate side of things and you are in security pathway, you want to begin to look at AI tools as web applications and then begin to look at them from an web application security perspective. How do you align your OWASP, security framework around the use of these things? Because as exciting as AI is the interaction of systems. Remember the 5 pillars, and all those systems are elements that need to be secured. Another key risk that we call out in the use of AI is data privacy issues. it's okay. You're using a tool, ChatGPT. I want to ChatGPT give me a content for a tech community audience that I want to speak to on AI and security. Simple. ChatGPT gives me. But imagine when I start going deep to say, ChatGPT, give me how to remediate XYZ vulnerability for contoso.com. Now I'm putting the name of the organization. So I'm already exchanging information. I'm telling ChatGPT of a company that has XYZ vulnerability, and I'm feeding that data. I have no control over what ChatGPT, the model behind it, is using that data to do. So somebody else might come tomorrow and now query, can I see 5 top companies that have this type of vulnerability? And ChatGPT will respond to that. The person will be excited because it's accurate. But ChatGPT was only able to know that because somebody somewhere too has fed it with information that is being used to train. So what does that mean to you? When you start your prompt engineering that you were taught in the last class, as you begin to exchange conversations with this AI tool, begin to ask yourself, what's the data privacy around what I'm doing? And that brings me to the question where I asked that what are the tools we're using? How many of you have gone to the privacy section of the AI tool that you are using? Now let's start with ChatGPT. I'm going to share my screen and show you something and say how many of you have come to this side of ChatGPT. And I can bet you nobody, many of you. Okay, let me look for another way to share. Let me know when you can see the browser that says Open AI Security Portal. Okay. Now, how many of you that use ChatGPT have ever come to this place? If there's one person that's come here that has used ChatGPT has come here, tell me what you want and I will do it if it's within my power. But I can bet you there's nobody on this call. How many of you have come here? Okay, the room is so quiet that I know that nobody has come. So where am I going to?
Please, you need to give us the link to that page. I didn't even know that page exists.
ChatGPT.
Please, let's go and read it.
So this is the thing. Just like many of you, how many of you have gone to the privacy page of your Instagram app? Let's even go there. Or your Facebook app. Many of us don't go there. You know, Facebook has introduced the AI, the Facebook Meta AI Meta, and Facebook also released that if you do not want the Facebook AI Meta to use your data, there's a setting they expect you to go and do. But when Facebook pushed the AI Meta out, it automatically is using the data of all of us that are using Facebook to train the AI. Did you know that? This class is too quiet. What's happening? Okay, I'll ask my question again. How many of you using Facebook know that currently Facebook has released the Facebook AI Meta? Yes, no, let me see. How many of you know that there is now Facebook own AI Meta? Okay, some people don't even know. So you see,
Yes.
now, how many of you know that Facebook AI Meta has been released? Facebook is using your data and they're saying, if you don't want us to use your data, go and make changes in this setting. They will not use your data. Nobody. But we are all on Facebook. Exactly. So when we talk of AI and security, that's where we want you to. And so that's where I'm speaking to, from those who are using tools for productivity and all of that. You need to begin to ask yourself, how much of my information am I allowing these language models to use to train? When you're excited on how accurate AI is. Just know that AI is as accurate as the data that is fed in, and that's good, but just know that it's based on data. So if you don't want any information that needs to stay within data privacy rules, do not share that information with AI. And the only way you can't is by living in the cautiousness of what the terms and conditions around the tool that you use are. So for those of you who are in the corporate world, while you want to be efficient and effective in doing your job, you want to ask yourself, what's the consequences of exchanging my company information? What's the consequences of exchanging my company information with this AI tool? I want to perform. I want to wow. Anytime, oh, my boss, if I just give my boss is so impressed. How much of company information are you exchanging with this AI tool that is making you bring out this response that is impressing your boss? You need to ask yourself, so that you're making sure that you're working in line with the data privacy issues. Any questions? And so that brings us to over-reliance and automation failures, right? So a lot of us, are gradually, subconsciously relying on AI. And that's good. It makes life easy. Lots of community work that I used to do, lots of manual activities, or prepare content, prepare assignments, prepare this. I leverage lots of AI tools now to help me at least conceptualize my idea, what I want, and then it makes it easier. But like I said, it's how much of that information it's okay for me to release outside, right? So we need to start paying attention, because we're gradually over relying. And then we need to ask ourselves, the output that we're getting from this, is in line with what we need? Lack of transparency, yes. So somebody will say, they tell you AI would respond to you, that's close to accurate response, and you're happy, but in exchange for what? So many of you are happy, oh, this tool gives me free this thing. In exchange for what? So it's that lack of transparency that exists. Now, all of this, I've tried to simplify this risk into these 5 buckets, are the risks that we want to mitigate, from a security perspective, and we want to pay attention to as we use AI. Any questions? Do we have any questions in the chat so that we can, before we proceed? Yeah, I saw someone say, oh, the AI is showing. Yeah, it's already on Facebook. A lot of people didn't know. Don't worry.
So I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
So considering, like you've told us, the importance of understanding the terms, the privacy terms in all these tools, is there a way, like, to be fair, it's a lot of grammar, right? That even sometimes when you read, you're like, what does this thing really mean? Is there any hack around how maybe some key things we need to look out for, or is there even an AI tool that can do the summary and just say, what does this thing really mean? Is there anything around it, like just anything that can help us in terms of understanding the privacy terms a bit more?
So AI tool like ChatGPT, you can use it to get you to summarize. Secondly, that's a big, massive business and career opportunity that I see lots of people don't take advantage of. So when people say they want to do GRC, everybody's looking at it from the corporate. When I talk to people about career opportunities, I'm like, we live in a world today where people are so busy to read privacy terms. You can build a career there. So that's one of the things I wanted to summarize my talk today on AI and security. Say, at the end of the day, AI has come to stay. There's a huge career path on AI and security, not even from the perspective of where people like me where we're configuring how to secure. From even education and awareness, it's a huge gap. like you said, lots of people are already using this tool, but don't know how to stay secure. Imagine creating shorts, reels, snippets of carousel messages that just talk about how people can stay secure, how people can configure their devices, the settings that they need to do, how much audience you will build. And why I'm saying this is that this is the Textilers community where we help you discover opportunities. And this is one free career opportunity I'm giving you to say you can build a career path here and help by giving people the hacks and the tips on how to stay secure. Because yes, it's always big grammar, and guess what, that's the lack of transparency. That's how the big guys have made it to be, where you don't see it. It looks too busy for you to read, to understand, so you don't pay attention to it, and then you don't do it. But guess what, if for any reason you get compromised because you didn't do that, they are safe because they've put it out there. It's just that you couldn't read. So I think the only hack and way is to look at it as a career path. Just the same way when people want to do the technologies that we train in Textilers Tech Deep Dive, right? They look at it like it's big, but we come and we simplify it and take them through this 6-7 weeks program, and they go away feeling like, oh God, I didn't know Power BI was this easy, or I didn't know Power Platforms this easy. It's the same way we're saying, take up this opportunity now with AI and begin to build a career around educating people on the governance, risk, and compliance of using AI tools. I'd like to see somebody who will leave here
Yeah.
today saying that
Thank
this
you.
was a light bulb for them. Yeah.
Thank you. Very helpful. And
Yeah.
it's like that's just the light bulb. Like it's completely needed. If I
Yes.
found someone that was charging for that, I'm sure I will pay for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So, in summary, what are some of the security in AI use? Right, there must be an acceptable use way. So you know how I'm trying my best not to make this so corporate again, because I know we have lots of audience. But if you went to an organization today, they will have what they call an acceptable use policy on how you use their systems, on how you use their environment, code of ethics. You do all of those things with HR and some even compliance training. It's the same thing with the use of AI. The first thing is awareness. For we who are in security, we will tell you that you can buy all the wonderful security solutions that detect and all of that, but user awareness is the major reason why any security breach will happen. So it's the same thing with AI. You must have an acceptable use policy. If your organization is dealing with certain data, you should be clear to say, do not use company data in this kind of platforms. And the same thing with you, when you are using AI tool, you must ask yourself, am I allowed to use this kind of tool to do my kind of official work? Right? You must find what the acceptable use for your organization on the use of AI tool is. And as an organization, if you sit in an organization that makes this kind of decision, you need to begin to ask questions like, what's our acceptable use, policy? Have we drafted any acceptable use policy on the use of AI? That's the first thing to do from security. And that will now lead you into your policies and guidelines. So what's the policy? In some organizations, you will not be allowed to use XYZ type of tools except XYZ kind of tools, right? So you want to set up policies. If you don't put policies, then you cannot hold people accountable. So just the same way these AI tool providers have come up with privacy terms and conditions and guidelines, right? It's the same way as an organization or as even an individual, even as parents, right? You want to talk about just the same way you have internet use time, screen use time. You want to have conversations on AI use at home. You want to have these conversations with your children because, again, you want to make sure that your children understand the role of AI, right, in doing their job, right, in doing their assignments. They just use AI to give them the answer, and you don't want to bother to worry about critical thinking and troubleshooting and analytics. So you want to have this conversation. But if you don't have these rules down or this policy down, then how do you put the control? So that's one way we bring security into AI. Again, data protection and privacy. Data protection, lots of the models rely on the interaction of your data. And even when sometimes they tell you we're not using your actual data, what they're doing is that they're using the behavior of your data. So for example, if you put a prompt and the prompt's response is so close to accuracy, you're excited. If you notice, it will ask you for feedback. And so you give a thumbs up. What you have told the model is that, this prompt for this response, met the need, right? And so the algorithm and the LLM behind it learns that and keeps that, right? So it's based, so you can imagine when you're not interacting with sensitive data, right? So even sometimes when you're not giving actual data, even when the platform is saying that they're not using your actual data, they're using your interactions and your response to the use of the platform to be able to train the model. And that's what we want. We want to use models that are very, very close to perfect. But again, you need to know behind your head that whatever you're feeding into this data, AI is what the AI is using to train. So you need to stay within your privacy policies. And then for us in the security side of things, we want to use AI for threat detection and protection, because the same way AI is enhancing productivity, the same way the bad guys are using AI to improve on. Now we have phishing emails that are very well crafted and targeted. We have malwares that people don't even need to go and learn how to create malwares and viruses again. If you go to ChatGPT and ask it to give you a malware that can exploit XYZ, but it will create the code for you. You didn't have to. When I became a certified ethical hacker, we had to learn some of these things. Now I'm seeing young people just go to ChatGPT, it gives you most of these things, and then you just use it and you see them push out all these their WhatsApp broadcast messages that have links that people are clicking, and then it will tell you, send this to 5 people and you receive your blessing today. And so please tell all your mothers and fathers that in all those their general WhatsApp group where they send all those things, that they should not send those things to you. It's not until you tell 5 people you are blessed today that you have blessing. You're okay. And it will tell you click this link, or congratulations, you are click on this link and your children will live above their, all those things that they broadcast. Now it's easy for them to create malicious links. People don't have to go into deep dive coding. Tools like ChatGPT and the rest would give you these codes and these malicious links that you use and host on your servers and harvest people's data. So we also want to use AI for threat detection and protection. So in summary, what are we saying? AI sits on top of 5 models. 5 pillars: your data, your models, your algorithm, training, and the algorithm is trained. The algorithms are trained, the models, your data, and I can't remember the 5th one if I go back. And so we want to make sure that you're secured when you're using AI, because all of this interaction is how AI is able to interact with you. And how do you stay safe? 1, read the privacy terms of all the AI tools that you use. Understand what data protection rule around these AI tools are, and also understand what the acceptable use of this AI tool for the organizations you work with or the people that you exchange data with are. The language models are trained by the exchange of your data or by the interaction you give. So pay attention to what you feed into it, and configure your devices, configure your privacy settings to adhere to what your policy and guidelines are. Once you can do this, right, you would be safe in the use of AI. And for those of us who are in the tech side, we want to look at how to use AI to threat detections and protections. Make sure we do our penetration testing. Make sure we do our periodic penetration testings of these language models. Make sure we ensure the right authentication and access controls are put in place for people who use these AI tools. Make sure you also come up with the right policies and guidelines on how people can use the AI. And then you want to put some form of monitoring and auditing on the use of certain terminologies. On that note, I'm going to say any questions, and okay, in the absence of any questions, that's all for me from AI and security. Like I said, the whole essence was to try as much as possible to make it very simplified, and not go into the nitty gritty of how we secure AI in the corporate world. For example, for those who will be using Microsoft Copilot, there are ways in the corporate environment we make sure that you're not doing data oversharing, you're not using corporate data and exchanging it with the public Copilot. But that's when you begin to go into hands-on. But on a general scale, we say to you, because we know everybody uses AI on a day-to-day basis, please read what the privacy terms and conditions are. Please ensure that you configure your devices in the right way to ensure that you're not exchanging data that you do not want the public or the language models to be aware of. Use AI responsibly. Also remember that AI is biased. AI would only give you what based on what it's been trained. And so there's still the importance of you using your own human intellect to analyze AI, and set what your AI policies and guidelines are, both as individuals, as corporate organizations, and in your home. Thank you. Lara, back to you.
Thank you so much, Joy, for the session. Aside being engaging, it certainly was educative. For me, I mean, Joy, at some, of course, the class was quiet because you have broken the table, you have shattered it. Really, how many of us read how those privacy tools? In fact, terms, there was a particular document I was looking at, terms and condition. It was 36 pages. And I was like, seriously, how do you read this? So, going by what you have said, there are some tools that can actually summarize these things for us to get the key words out of it. So, for me, that's a takeaway. And I would like all of us in the comment section to we have a few minutes left in the in the chat box. So maybe just write a takeaway you have from today's session. There's a question from Joanne, but before then, I would like all of us to to just say something that you have learned from today's session. Grace has said use AI responsibly. So
I think the question I like to ask people would be that, with what you know today, with how much you're using AI, what's the takeaway for you?
Right. Okay,
And it's
while we let
okay.
people answer the question, let's attend to Joanne. She says, would machines have rights in the future?
Okay, when she says would machines have rights,
AI
AI
machines.
machines, would they have rights? Sorry, when you mean rights, I'm again trying to understand. Um, I need a bit of clarity on what you refer to like rights. Is it like humans? Would they have um with when you mean rights, like the way as a human being, I have the right to freedom of speech, something like that. I have the right to. Are you speaking in those contexts, right? Ability to think by themselves? Obviously, no. It's not a case of, oh, machines are. That's why I said that I needed to, because I know that we have different audience. If you understand what machines are made up of a storage systems, and that's why I said AI in simplicities, systems, algorithms, software configured that interact with that data, and then that makes that machine become a machine. What makes you a human being is your brain and all those hormones put in your brain that allows your brain to process information and produce. Unless you're telling me that they're going to start taking the human brain and put into machines in the future, I don't know. Maybe I'll be dead and gone, dead. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the last 50 years. But what I know is that no matter how much they try to model machines will only be modeled based on the data that they have from humans. So humans will still be the originator and generator of data. That's how I see it. So the rights that machines will have will only be based on the limitation of what data that they are processing. That's how I will summarize it. because machines can only feed what they have, right? Machines cannot just sit down and think for themselves. They only think based on the information that they have.
Thank you. Let me just read other people's comments. So some people have said takeaway to pay attention to the privacy and data security pages. Okay, thanks for the session. Takeaways to be aware of data protection and always look that up no matter the tool, including AI. Read and summarize the privacy section of the AI tools. Absolutely. Machines work with data, yes, like what we have learned today. So be careful with any information shared. So we have a question. Can you show us the privacy section of ChatGPT, or if there is a link to it?
Okay, yeah, it's just once you go to ChatGPT, before you log in, you will see product safe. Just click on safety, and when you go to safety, you're going to see security and privacy, and that's it. And as you know that ChatGPT has the enterprise version and the free version. So my curiosity was what made me even land there was out of curiosity, because we currently I currently work with Microsoft Copilot M365, and we do a lot of data security responses to clients. I just wanted to understand that people who are subscribing to ChatGPT Enterprise, what do they have? And then that's when I saw that, they have lots of content, that speak to AI security. And I was like, how many people even really read this to even know what they have said is available and what they've said is not available? Yeah. And so somebody's saying that just go over the career opportunity, and like the career opportunity was based on the question that was asked, where these privacy terms exist. I'm echoing. These privacy terms exist, and we all know it, and we all want to read, we want to adhere. And the question was that, but because they are so large, they're so voluminous, most times we tend to just bypass them. That is there some simplified way we can, before we do something, just get some simplified insights into what these terms and conditions are? And I'm saying that there's not that simplified way than just either you maybe Google it and say, what are the ways I can secure my system or I can secure my device, right? It still requires an action from you. But that we know that in the world of learning today, just the same way we do tech deep dive in text, where we simplify it, it's the same way people can build a career path on guiding people on privacy terms and conditions. Because now statistics says that there are over 1 billion people online today using social media platforms. And so that's a huge market if you want to build a career around educating people, creating content and awareness on how people can stay safe. And in the world of AI, like I said, I'm yet to see anybody who is not using AI. I want to see, the people who said yes, by the time I asked my question again, they went silent. And I said, show me somebody who would tell me they're not using AI today. And I will say that's not true, because it's used in every way. If you go to your phone, Siri, there's a setting I discovered really on iPhone that talks about how Siri interacts with your calls, your conversations, how Siri is interacting with it. And it made sense to me too, why sometimes you go online and you're seeing certain things and you know very well that you have never browsed about it, but how come you're having targeted audience? Siri is interacting, and you have to go and disable those things for Siri not to interact with your conversations. Many of us don't know about it. I didn't know, so I just bumped on it recently when I was trying to create a content for a course program. So the career opportunities is that I'm still yet to see. There are a couple of people that are doing it, but it's not a career path that a lot of people have taken advantage of. And we live in a world where lots of young people today are doing content creation. So you don't have to do content creation only of checking bomb and all of that. Begin to look at cybersecurity awareness, content creations that can educate people and bring people aware on the use of these tools. Yeah. Any questions again? So, like Lara said, because this is not a tech career path, right? We're not going all hands on how you can stay, how you configure, what are the. If we wanted to take AI and security from a career path, we will be looking at AI. Like I said, is a web tool, so there are OWASP framework that you need to use when you are using, especially when you have your own model. If you're in an organization where you're developing your own GPT models and all of that, what you need to do from a penetration testing to the kind of OWASP frameworks that you need to use for AI on the language models, and then from a data protection perspective. And for those of you who took our Microsoft Purview program, or you could go to YouTube to watch it, you will see how Microsoft Purview helps you as an organization manage and monitor prompts and do some form of e-discovery when people are using, these AI tools. But because that's not what we just want to look at, generally how you have to stay secured when you're using AI and responsible use of AI. In the absence of any other question, back to you, Lara and Grace.
Olive's hand is up. She wants to ask a question.
Okay, I have a
Hello,
question.
thank
It's
you.
on the chat box.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Did someone want to ask?
I was asking.
Okay.
Yes. I was asking about the MAHEMI security that you said it's for mothers and all that. Like, if someone is interested in it, how can they be a part of it?
Just go to any of the social media platforms and reach out. Somebody will respond back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, hi. Thank you very much, Joy. Thank you for what you shared. Really, really, really enlightening. I have a question. I think I've asked this before. I'm not sure whether it's my imagination, but I believe that I have had some discussions with people on WhatsApp, like maybe just talking about something in particular, and then later on, like on maybe Google, or I think Google, maybe Facebook, or more of Google, I would see adverts based on what I've discussed, and I'm thinking, are they actually listening to conversation? So I'm like, is it my imagination, or does that actually happen?
Yeah. Do you use iPhone? Is it an iPhone?
It's not an iPhone, it's Samsung.
Okay, I need to check if that settings or something. But it's on
Android.
iPhone. You need to go, and there's a setting on iPhone, like I said, with Siri, on how Siri interacts with the other apps. I just discovered that newly. So Siri actually listens to your conversation. So it's not necessarily WhatsApp listening, it's Siri listening to your conversation.
Okay.
So I'm sure probably Android will have something similar.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that, Joy.
Yes. Okay, Lara, Grace, if we don't have any other questions, we can release the team.
Yes, we just have one like 10 minutes quiz for everyone. Okay, so this is it. So how many hours are you ready? Let's see who can get 5 questions correctly. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
So are we ready? Right. Okay, let me go to unscramble. Who can unscramble this based on what we have been learning within 3 weeks, or what we have learned during the cohort, or what we have learned inspirational sessions this year? But anything that has to do with tech generally. Fantastic. Olive got it.
Nice one.
Right. Human intelligence. All right, the next one.
Let's see who will get this.
Am I seeing answers? Am I seeing people scratching their head? Am I seeing answers? Which one are we seeing?
Yeah.
Computer science, fantastic. FT, I'm sorry, I didn't get the full name. But FT, yes, that's correct. PM, oh, right. Okay, thank you, PM. The third one, yep. Olive is hot. It's imagination. PM and Olive. Thank you, fantastic. Okay, second to the last. The only clue I'm giving for this is a name. Wow. Okay. We have very hot people here. Alan Turing, yes. So Alan was one of the first people that discovered AI and wrote about it. So we can read more about Alan. Okay, the last question. Joy, I can see your head moving.
This one is hard for me.
And this one, more people should answer. More people should answer this one. I'm not going to say the correct answer yet until I see more responses. I've seen 2 responses. Okay, are they correct? You never can tell. I can only get at least you got something. More responses, more responses. This is the last quiz to unscramble, and this part of it.
We give up. We give up, Lara.
So for those of us that got it, please give yourself a pat at the back. I celebrate you, celebrate you. Whoa! Intelligently and independently. Yes. So we shall continue this next time. But for today, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Please, can we see a round of applause for ourselves and for our speaker today? Can I see some reactions saying thank you and applauses? Thank you. So, as we round up this session, we want to tell us to find us on Discord, follow us community on WhatsApp. Please join the community, and we'll place the link right now in the chat box. We're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, we're on TikTok, we have a website running. We're inviting you for next week's session with the team using M365 Copilot to improve efficiency. So M365 is one of the productivity tools. So how we can use Copilot to improve, not to take away our intelligence, but to improve efficiency. So we'll be diving into that next week. Invite your friends, join us 12. Okay. Join us same time, 12 noon West African time next week. And we look forward to our Evolve conference coming up in October, October 26th. Do this together. And should you want to join our volunteers and mentors, we also have put the link in the chat box. Join us, and we look forward to seeing you same time, same place, same link next week. Thank you all. Thank you, Grace, for doing this with me.
Bye.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thanks. Have a nice weekend,
Enjoy the
everyone.
rest of your weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.